Hello everyone, it's Viking and today I'll be showcasing some gameplay for Gabumon. And I actually have been playing it quite a bit before the set drop, but after it dropped I thought, hey, might as well just try it out. I like the deck enough. And with the new cards, mostly just the Scramble and the Ace, I think it's pretty nice. The Ace I think probably works better in just a normal stack based deck, but it's still a fine enough card, especially if you just want to go into a level 7 for really cheap. And my tone was pretty simple here, just go Gabu in the back, training, and the mat. And my hand is not the worst, it's definitely fine enough. If I see a Warp Global, I can easily just be able to use that because I do have the Ancient Gabumon, I do have a decent amount of Tamers, and since the Louis is at 1 at the moment, I pretty much want to save that for later on. And unfortunately, they do hit the Davis, which, lets me search out cards. I do end up grabbing the Metal Gabumon Secret Rare just because, just in case if they are able to build up into, like, say, a Metal Elmon, just in the off chance that they do. So I obviously just grab that. In this case, I actually do see the Lobo, which I think the Davis kind of helped me, a little bit in that case because it made it my first card to draw, which is pretty good. So now obviously I just do the Ancient Gabumon combo force so I can remove the stuff. I obviously remove the Sukamon with the on deletion because obviously that's at the moment the worst one in my opinion to deal with, just because I don't want them swinging with it and then get extra soldiers. But now obviously I just passed turn with the map play and now I'm able to just play another Tamer, and this I think is a pretty good setup for me at least, just because I have two mats out. I have a Louis, so if I really want to I could just gain a shit ton of memory and just kind of go at it. If they do end up actually going to the level 6 turn, I could probably just even warp into the secret Metal Gabumon I just grabbed. And even I think having the Scramble right now is still pretty good because I am able to kind of recycle my Ancient Gabumon along with the fact that I'm able to play out the rookie, so I can still do some warp shenanigans. And honestly, just Scramble makes the deck a lot stronger as well. Of course, it made a lot of other decks stronger, but you get the idea. And again, they just start swimming with their Gabumon because frankly, might as well get a damage in. If it dies, it doesn't really matter because Edamon doesn't really care about that stuff as much, so might as well get the free hit in. And now I am technically in range for the ace play, but again, I don't have any Gabumons out. But at least with this, I'm able to kind of be able to go into Mega for essentially free, and I could easily bounce their stuff because by that point they would have less sources, but I don't really think I need to at the moment because I do have the Ancient Gabumon, so I'm able to at least kind of use that stuff to be able to bounce the Trumon and be able to still do whatever the hell I want because removes the floodgate. But at the moment I don't have anything that would really care about, oh yeah, I need to gain memory in other ways, because again, I didn't have a boost setup or anything, so it doesn't really matter at this current moment. So of course I just bounce it, don't really care about the Gabumon at the current moment, but I do play out the Louis just because I'm able to at least remove some of those stuff in this current moment and be able to filter out through my deck a little bit more and still be able to keep turn as well. And now I'm kind of just considering what exactly I want to do. I was trying to use Bond Map, but then I was like, oh wait, no, I'm at 1 memory, it would just pass turn, there's no point. And I ended up just swinging. If it dies, I don't really care at the moment, and it didn't, which I thought was kind of funny. I don't have the Ancient again, so I was like, you know what, might as well just pass on with the training, so that way I can kind of leave the Gabumon there. If they try to swing, I do have the Ace, so they would have to at least have one big stack, so that way that big stack doesn't really get bounced. To be fair, they don't necessarily have to swing right now if they don't want to, just because again, they could just build up the stack if they really want to, and they're going to end up doing that. In this case, they go into the EX4 Edamon to pretty much kill off the Gabumon, which is still pretty small, and they do end up swinging with the Gabumon anyways. And I still find it funny that Gabumon pretty much lived this entire time, because again, I only was able to bounce the lowest level and they always had like a different guy on board, so this guy just keeps living and keeps swinging, which again I think is pretty funny. And they pretty much end up going into the EX5 Metal Edamon, and honestly it's probably one of the better moves here just because they're able to delete one of their Tamers, and in this case they're going to choose to delete the Mat and Soul dual Tamer. And at least deleting this Tamer kind of makes sense because I'm not really able to take advantage of the draw and memory gain from Matt along with the memory gain from Louis, so again, at least limiting me to 3 is probably the best solution right now. In this case, I end up basically popping like all my boosts to essentially go into the Ancient Gabumon so I can remove the Gabumon and slowly just wheel down the board, because if I don't remove anything on the board right now, I pretty much lose just because they have two bodies. And at least doing this helped me, accomplish that, keeping the game at least one more turn. And I only really played the youth here just because I knew I would keep turn with it because, of its all turns effect. And with the ancient Gabumon deletion, I just grabbed back the dual tamer delete and pretty much play it back. I could have played Davis instead, but I just thought that, for next turn, the memory would have been a little bit more effective since I already do have a Davis and they didn't delete it beforehand. And I only really used the scramble just because I didn't really want to hard slam a rookie or anything. I don't really think it matters all that much just because, again, I also have a scramble. So that way, no matter what, I could always get at least one body on board regardless. And they really do just need to set up quite a bit of blockers here somehow because I pretty much have really easy access to game. I have a Gabumon in the back along with the fact that I do have a Kendo Gabumon in my hand, so I do have access to a hybrid. But even then, I also would have somewhat decent access to the Warp Gabumon since I do have the mat out. So if anything, I could just stun a lot of the bodies so that way they're unable to block with them. So for me right now, I'm still in a pretty good position. With them, it's just really unfortunate because there's not really a whole lot they could do. They could throw in a Blastoise heal, but again, I don't really think it's really likely since I have easy access to bounce it as well, since I do have another Warp Lobo. So that way, I think it's pretty much just GG for them at this point because just of how much resources I have in comparison to what they have and what tools I have in my hand at the current moment. Again, there isn't really anything they can do at this point just because I do end up having like double Warp Lobo and double Ancient Gabumon, so clear the board and then just swing for game. I could have swung for game earlier, but frankly I just thought it would be funnier to just double clear the board at this point. And this next game is going to be up against Dragon Links, and the biggest piece they did end up getting with the new LM stuff was the dual boost, the one for red and black, because that way they can surge out both lines, which is also really effective because now they do have more surge power and more memory gain for future turns, and again that just helps a big consistency boost for the deck. Now we get to my turn, and I was originally just pretty much just gonna evo into Gabu and then hard slam the mat, but thankfully I ended up drawing the training. So now obviously Gabumon to training grab the Lobo is really nice just because of the fact that now I have a Warp Lobo in hand for future use whenever I do grab the Ancient Gabumon as well. And I think seeing the BT6 mat is probably one of the things you want to see as early as possible just because you can be a little bit more aggressive and at least gain some extra draws here and there, which is still really nice. I also do have the Louis in hand really early on, and I pretty much want to save that for like way later in the game when it's more possible for me to pretty much able to either win or to basically just be a little bit more aggressive and possibly remove a little bit more bodies. And the only reason I actually swung here was because I actually wanted to draw really badly, because again I kind of wanted to see like an extra, maybe hopefully Ancient Gabumon if possible, but again unfortunately it was just another Warp Lobo, so it is what it is. I'm not necessarily worried about them killing the Gabumon at this current moment, so I think just leaving this guy out is probably the best bet. And say if by chance they hit into a man security, I would have gained a memory, so I thought that would have been kind of funny. And I end up drawing into the Ancient Gabumon here, which is really good because I'm able to effectively keep turn and also kind of bounce the rookie that they just played. It would have been a little bit nicer if, of course they didn't play the rookie, but it is what it is. But anyways, I do end up just swinging into the level 4 because I was actually considering if I just should get the extra check-in, but I figured the less bodies they have on board, the better for me at least. So that's why I just swung into the level 4, and I end up just passing turn with boost. I end up grabbing the other Ancient Gabumon instead of the Kendo because I do have a Kendo, so I was thinking like maybe I don't really need the other one nearly as much. And I was thinking to play Louis, but I didn't. I could have gotten extra draws and whatnot, but I didn't think I needed at the current moment because there wasn't really much point because they pretty much had an empty board. And here they end up just passing with the Hina, and I end up just responding with my own other mat because I thought, well, again, they don't have anything on board, so what's the point of me pushing out right now? Because I do have a decent amount to kind of like deal with the board. I have the Warp Gabumon along with the fact that I have another Agent and another Warp Lobo, so right now I'm not too worried about pushing out my Gabu. Now I do end up moving up, and now I can pretty much do the Ancient Gabumon combo again without having to pass turn, and I do end up drawing into a scramble, which is really good because by the end of the turn I'm going to die anyways, so this is a good way to kind of keep another rookie on board for future use if I ever did need it. And again, just this combo is just pretty much one of your bread and butters for the deck. You see me do it quite a bit. And even if they didn't have the body on board, I still would have been able to add a security to their hand simply because I had 2 drawn heroes as well. And the Ancient Gabumon ends up dying here, but frankly it didn't really matter all that much simply because I was going to die at end of turn anyway, so either way it works out in the end. I still got a check in. And I didn't want to give them that much memory, so I just tossed them to training for future use. And in this case, they pretty much would need the black level 5 in order to keep turn, which in this case they do, but if they didn't, they would have gone to the ultimate with passing turn, because the fact that the Windage evolving is game memory. I think it's if you don't have a level 5 high on my side, so again it works out for them pretty nice. And in this case they also end up going into the Volcanic Dramon, and in this case it helps them out a ton because I'm basically unable to use the full effect of Scramble. In my case I still end up doing it just because I wanted to grab the other Ancient Gabumon. I could have easily just saved it for next turn because right now I'm not really super threatened. I still have full security, so it's fine enough. I just want to get the Ancient Gabumon back because I believe I run about like 3 copies of it, so having 2 in hand is still pretty good. So in this case I just spend my turn just basically hard slamming more Tamers because now I'm able to still get a ton of advantage. 3 mats out basically equals to 3 memory gain, which is still insane, and I'm able to gain even more memory thanks to the dual tamer I also run, which again is just pretty good, so I'm able to do a lot more with my turn. They swing here, they hit into a Gabumon, the Bt2.0 one, but they still live just because they're 1k higher, which still is pretty good. And here they end up just hard slamming the level 4, the one that's on play, Trash and Earth Dragon, like anything from the Volcanic line, to draw 2, and I'm pretty sure this is probably still a decent play because that way they get to keep the Mega on board if I do end up doing the Warp combo, which I obviously do, just because that way they can still have a redirect up. But unfortunately I do have a Kendo in hand, so they pretty much would have to waste the redirect if they still want to live, which obviously they do, and I'm guessing they didn't think I had a hybrid in hand, so that way of course that helps me basically seal out the game here. And again, I just want to say thank you for everyone who's been watching my videos. It actually does mean a lot. I've actually managed to get about close to 70 subs within like the amount of times I've been uploading, which I think is fantastic for basically a channel that I just started this year. And again, thank you for everyone who's stayed around for this long. It really does mean the world to me. So if you do like my content, don't forget just to subscribe for future videos and just like the stuff. Again, thank you everyone for watching.